All right. Hello, everyone. Paul here, and glad you're here. And we'll give time for everybody to come in and join. Come join us for our Monday Live. And today we're going to do something new we're going to try, and we'll see how it works. It's called Pastor Paul Live Reacts to Crazy Right Wingers. So we're going to have live reaction to crazy right-wing videos, right-wing Christians, right-wing politicians. And if we have fun with this, we may do this on a regular basis. And if it doesn't work, we'll never do it again. And we'll just do like our Monday Q&A or something like that. But I'm excited to live react to right-wingers because I never cease to be amazed at what right-wingers can come up with as far as craziness, nuttiness, zaniness. So yeah, if you're with me, let me know where you're joining from as we live react to crazy right-wingers today. TikTokers, let me know where you're joining from. We have Doug from South Dakota with us on YouTube today. And so come on in and join. I see people are joining us on YouTube and Facebook. Let me know where you're joining from. And people are starting to line up on TikTok. So let me know. We're going to live react to some crazy right-wing videos. And I see you guys asking questions on TikTok. I'll answer those after we're finished. Alicia's with us from Oregon on YouTube. Lisa from Kentucky on Facebook. Julie saying thank you for being the voice of reason from Colorado. Thank you, Julie. Jen says my favorite pastor on TikTok. Awesome, Jen. Where are you joining us from today? Sorry, my nose is running. Let me make sure I don't have anything hanging off of my nose while we're doing this. Paul is with us from San Jose. Hi, Paul. While we're waiting for just a few more people to be able to join, Jen says she's from Alabama, unfortunately. I've never been to Alabama, but I think I can imagine. Just to let you guys know what I have coming up is I've started a new mentorship for people who are deconstructing their faith. It says if you're questioning the religious teaching that you've had in your life about who God is, what does the Bible really say? Does it really say what we're taught? Then I want you to come join me. It's for those who've left behind their church, but not their faith. Hi, Nancy from Wisconsin. And in my Deconstruction U mentorship, I have an exclusive online curriculum. Now, I'm not wearing the earrings right now because we may cut clips from this. And so I got them sitting right here, though, so I'll get them on before the live is over. Our Deconstruction U is an exclusive online study guide curriculum. Hi, Roger from Worthing, England. Good to see you in the middle of the night. Greta from Wisconsin's here. You also get one-on-one Zoom mentorship with me through Decon U and a free copy of my novel, Joseph Comes to Town, in the audiobook version. And also it's part of our study of deconstructing. So if you're deconstructing your faith, struggling with some of the basic questions, I've sort of narrowed down to 9 basic questions of deconstruction. You can see those on my website at pastor-paul.com. I can help you walk through that stuff and let you know that God is not mad at you. You're not sending yourself to hell or your children to hell by rethinking your faith. So if you've left behind your church community, if you're wondering if what you're taught has any validity at all, and can you be a faith-filled person after deconstructing and leaving your church, then come join my Deconstruction U mentorship. It's awesomely cost-effective, and just the clients that I have going through right now are saying it's really empowering in their life. So glad to see you all and join my Deconstruction U mentorship. You can find out more by going to pastor-paul.com. Don't forget the dash, pastor-paul.com. All right, I'm going to have my friend Jill join us now as we're going to live react to crazy right-wing videos. Jill, do you have some crazy right-wing videos for me today?
I do. They're very exciting. I can't wait for you to see some of these. We've been gathering them for a couple of weeks now, and I'm so excited. I think the first one, the first one's not really so much funny. It's just shocking. So I really can't wait for you to see it, though.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to pull up one of the crazy pastors first. How about that?
Okay.
Okay. And also hi to Guy Gee. He says he doesn't care if we call him Guy or Gee from Sudbury, Ontario, Canada. Our friend Jan is with us from Colorado. Love all you people coming in. All right. This is me blind reacting to a crazy right-wing preacher video.
Are you pulling up the first one from the compilation video? Oh,
yes. All right. Do you know who this guy is?
This is Jonathan Shelley. Everyone knows who he is.
Shelley. All right. I have not seen this video, so let me blind react.
This is exactly what God wants in the New Testament. Did you realize that?
Yeah.
Because you know what? Fornicators aren't welcome in the church. So if there's a whore, she's supposed to be thrown out until she repents and gets back in. And then on top of that, the sodomites never allowed in for any vow.
Sodomites.
Oh, I promise I'm saved. Nope, get away. I love the Lord. No, you don't. Get away from me. Love is love. No, there's no promise you could make. There's nothing you can say. You're never welcome. Go away.
Amen. Yeah.
I just can't wait until you just go to hell.
Right.
Because there's no place for them.
Shelley was just evicted.
Wow. Wow.
The kids all sitting there in front of him playing.
The children are sitting there like coloring.
Yes. And he's just like, sodomites and go to hell. And they're just like, oh, Jesus loves us, right? Yeah. That was disturbing.
Wait till you go to hell, he said. Jonathan Shelley. Yeah. So Jesus said to the very religious people of Capernaum, Sodom will have a better judgment day than you. I don't think Jesus would agree with a single word of that sermon. And then he's preaching from like this folding table with this mic stand. I mean, it's just comical. And if it wasn't,
he got evicted. He got evicted months ago because of all of the stuff all of the hateful sermons that he was doing. So he's in Texas. So he's out of his regular church. The landlord booted him out because obviously. And so I guess he's at a different place where apparently he needs to preach from the nursery.
Well, the landlord booting him out in Texas, you say, obviously. I'm stunned that a landlord in Texas would boot that guy out. Sodomites. Oh my gosh. We've just become cartoons. I like this quote from Paul on Facebook that says they should have that guy sit on the floor while the kids teach him instead. I feel sorry for, my heart hurts for those children.
I know, but some of the things that he has said, which I'm sure he has said in front of those kids, is he is one of the preachers that advocates for that the government should actually kill homosexuals, and he talks about that, and that was the reason why they evicted him, was all the inflammatory stuff. And of course, he says, "I'm not saying we should do it. I'm saying the government should do it."
Yeah. Oh, crazy. All right. I want to like punch
save
a wall.
The children. You want
him.
To save the children.
There's no question. At least, how many of those children do have gender issues? Maybe they don't recognize it yet in their life, but they're absorbing this teaching of being a sodomite, that we are supposed to celebrate their journey to hell. And some of those children are going to be the ones that may end up taking themselves into the next life faster because of a sermon like that. Yeah, that just grips my heart right now. Ugh, I hate it. All right, let's go to this is Dennis Prager. I see you've got me, and
oh yes,
you're going to owe me because I can't stand to ever see Dennis Prager on the screen.
You're going to love him even more now.
Sanctimonious, self-righteous.
Just remember, he is also teaching the young impressionable children.
Yes, he is from PragerU, mind you. All right, let's listen to Dennis Prager.
Anyway, none of you have.
Oh wait, what did I do?
Secular argument against it, and I don't blame you for that because there isn't any. There's no secular argument against adult incest. Brother and sister want to make love. What's your argument? That they're going to produce mentally retarded offspring? It's nonsense. It takes many generations of inbreeding to do that. There is no secular argument against adult consensual incest. There's a religious argument. Sex cannot enter family life. It's a big taboo. See, people think that we can live without the greatest source of wisdom and morality in the history of the world, the Bible. That's what they think.
Doesn't the Bible have incest in it?
That's what he's saying.
Conservatives think that. They don't realize they're living on the fumes of the Judeo-Christian value system. But if you ultimately extract those flowers from the soil that nurtured them, those flowers will wither and die. I don't want to see that happen.
There's no other.
Yeah. So there is no secular argument against incest. If a brother and sister want to make love, they should be able to. That's what he's saying.
So I think what he's saying is, if you take religion out of law, you can't make an argument for outlawing incest. But Judeo-Christian aren't the only ones that outlaw incest. Islam outlaws incest. I mean, there are practical reasons to outlaw incest. You know, and he says hogwash about the thing of having, and he uses a terrible word, but having it have negative impacts on your offspring. But that is a legitimate reason to outlaw incest. But my bigger question is, like, are there a lot of people who are sitting around wanting to have incest, but a Christian law put into the civil code is keeping them from doing it? Does he really believe that?
I feel like there are a lot of people who honestly believe that if it wasn't for the Bible and God telling us not to do things, that we would all just be running around just murdering people and acting like fools, and apparently, having incest with our relatives if we weren't afraid that God was going to smite us for it. But
by the way, if the Bible is literal, incest is how we all got here. Incest was required between Eve and her sons. There is no other way. If the Bible is literal truth, word for word, literal truth, it is impossible for humanity to exist without incest.
I mean, there's a lot of incest in the Bible. So I was wondering if that's what he was saying was, we should have biblical law, and then, people would be, celebrated for, getting their father-in-law drunk.
Sure.
And,
Yeah. And you can just, if somebody comes and wants to have sex with an angel at your house, you just offer up your daughters instead.
Yes.
That's what good, godly people do.
Right. And this
to the literal Bible.
And this whole, having laws against that is just really interfering with, our ability to be 100% biblical. Okay. So these darn laws.
I just want to say, Dennis, are there lots of Christians that are like, man, I would be having sex with my sibling right now if it wasn't for the Bible. If it wasn't for the Bible, I would really be going after that sibling right now. I mean, what is the sickness around sexuality in Christianity is just
That's what I'm
mind-boggling.
saying. They're so obsessed. It's like, they're saying that everybody else is the groomers, but they, like, you saw Jonathan Shelley sitting there talking about whores and fornicators and sodomites in front of a room full of children, playing on the floor. It's like, what part of that is appropriate? Like, and this, this PragerU guy, and I wasn't sure exactly where he was going with that. Was he saying that because incest is most definitely all throughout the Bible?
It is. It is.
So was he saying that we should have incest because there's no reason not to? It's all over the Bible,
Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely not signing my kids up for his lessons.
He is a smug, self-sanctimonious straw man killer. Yes, he is. Yes. He's fabulous at it. Okay, let's go. Let's go to another crazy preacher here. And let's see who this one is. You think I'm going to?
I've never heard of this man before.
Okay, let's see who we got here.
Demonstration of God's love.
Well, what about earthquakes?
Oh wait, that's not the one we want, is it? Yet. Wait, sorry.
You can do that one first if you want. It doesn't really matter. They're not really in order.
Okay. Well, let's see. I think you wanted to do them in a different order. So let me see. Sorry, my camera's in the way here of me doing my technical duties. Let's see. Maybe is it this one? Oh, well, whatever we get here, we'll go with. All right. These are the guys doing the podcast. We're ripping.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go.
How a 500-year-old dude could single-handedly build a stadium-sized boat out of trees. Check it out.
And you have to ask yourself this: how did he move those timbers around?
Yeah.
How did he pick up those timbers?
Robin Bullock.
Move them around. Well, there's something called, everything has a frequency.
Yeah.
This AirPod case has a frequency. If you could, because it's made of matter,
right.
if you could match the frequency,
is he going to make it float?
Case, and you knew what it was, and you could match it, you could pick it up off the ground without touching it.
We'll do it
just through sound. It had to be moved with sound. Well, that's brilliance of mind that we don't possess right now.
Why not?
We see all the technology just actually showed how dumb man has become in comparison to how smart Noah and Adam and all of them were.
Hammett, yeah.
What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Noah built the boat because he made it all float together.
The wood floated together
with frequencies.
Then why did it take him didn't it take him like hundreds of years to build the ark?
Yes.
Like he didn't build it in a day. If he could just make wood float, then why wouldn't he just with his mind call the boat into being?
I don't know, but did you know that the ark experience, the thing that remember when we went to Nashville and our friend Heidi showed me pictures of when she went to the ark experience. Did you know that it recently flooded and they had to put in an insurance claim?
I heard the big ark
hilarious.
They built in Tennessee. I don't think they built it by making the wood float to get there.
If they had, it might not have flooded.
But yes, the ark experience. I hear they're suing their insurance company because the insurance company is saying, just because you didn't make your ark waterproof doesn't mean we have to pay for it.
Well, that's because we're stupider now. We should be smart, back in Noah when he could float the wood.
I mean, that guy cannot believe that bullshit he's spinning there. He can't believe it. Is he just thinking everybody I'm talking to is so unbelievably stupid they're gonna believe it?
I mean, I guess so.
You can't believe it.
If
you are a prophet and you know this power is available from heaven, then make your fucking AirPod holder float. Show us.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's nuts, people.
Do
not listen to the man behind the curtain.
I feel like he seemed like he was maybe on something as well.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
You think so? Oh my gosh. Oh, I think I just blipped out a video that I had for you that I was going to show, but we'll get to that in a second. Oh, shoot.
Okay.
Again, I always like have the technical difficulties here always. But okay, let me get that queued up again. And we'll do your next video. But I just like, particularly I get a lot of Christian trolls on TikTok. Is there anybody who believes anything that Robin Bullock says? I mean, do you believe a word that I just wanted, is there anybody who believes anything that nutball has to say? Because I got a bridge I'd like to sell you, to be honest. The wood floated. I've never heard that one before. That's crazy. Now I've heard the animals just magically showed up.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, I guess I have nothing else to say. All right, Jill, we have one more video that you sent me, and this one is tell me what this one's about.
This is about the gifts that God gives us.
The gifts that God gives us. Okay.
He bestows upon us.
Many gifts. Okay, here it is.
Earthquakes, what about diseases, what about natural fires?
Actually, a demonstration of God's love.
Well, what about earthquakes, what about diseases, what about natural fires, what about all that stuff? Like, why would a loving father allow that to happen?
Yeah, actually, God has given us those because He is good. We need earthquakes within our ecosystem to survive as human beings. Things like forest fires, we actually need forest fires to recycle some of the plants that are in different ecosystems. What about viruses? We actually need viruses. They help limit the amount of bacteria that spreads. And if we didn't have viruses, we wouldn't stop them.
What?
The Bible does say that the world was cursed. So somehow in the sin at Romans 3, it might have affected the magnitude of earthquakes. It might have affected the kind of viruses. I don't know that we know those particulars, but I do know that we actually need those very things to survive in our environment and flourish. So I think because God is loving, He's actually given us those things.
And the self-flagellation.
Mm-hmm. God loves us so much that He's given us natural disasters and disease. And a complete misunderstanding of how science works.
I mean, we know from Pat Robertson that Hurricane Katrina was punishment for homosexuality, as I believe 9/11 was punishment for gay marriage, according to Franklin Graham. So yeah.
Maybe they got it wrong, and it was really just a gift. It was a gift.
It was God's gift. It's God's gift.
Mm-hmm.
The funny thing about like Hurricane Katrina that Pat Robertson was saying, New Orleans is an evil city. Well, Katrina didn't hit Bourbon Street or the French Quarter or the places where the really evil stuff goes on. It just hit the poor neighborhoods, and really, for a God that says, take care of the poor, the foreigner, the marginalized, and the outcast, God missed his mark with Katrina. But God
maybe
makes
it was just a gift for the rich. Maybe it was a gift for the rich. He was just giving the gift. He was giving the rich less poor. I don't know. Apparently,
this is like Dan Patrick, who is the Christian lieutenant governor of Texas, saying, old people, you need to die. You need to let COVID kill you so that your children and grandchildren can go back to school. Like old people should be willing. So, I mean, it is maybe what Sean McDowell is saying. And of course, his dad wrote the famous Case for Christ, really bad book and bad movie that was made about it. That's his dad, Josh McDowell. And maybe what Sean McDowell is saying out loud is that Christian belief of we need people to die. Like it's good that people get wiped out, particularly people who aren't Euro white Christian, because that's what God did in the Bible. And maybe God is just cleaning house of humanity again today. I mean, that's maybe he's just saying the quiet part out loud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, God does really have an affinity for the white Euro Christian,
The God of the rich.
Mm-hmm.
The God of the rich. No, guys, I don't believe God wants your house to burn down in a wildfire. Now, I think wildfires are tragic, particularly out here in my state of California sometimes, because we're building houses in places we ought not be building houses. There is some parts of nature where we just shouldn't live. And, the campfire wiped out an entire little town. And people are talking about building that town back. And I'm like, why would you build that town back? You shouldn't have been living there in the first place.
Now, have you seen the trailer for the movie Jesus Revolution?
I have not. I haven't even heard of it.
Okay, well, I'm not really sure. I just saw the trailer, so I don't know the any of the background of it. It looks like a good movie, honestly.
Okay.
But it's sometimes they make these things look a lot better than they are.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll have to check it out. Jesus Revolution. I got one more video. I got a video that I pulled that I want to show you. But first, I want to remind people again that Deconstruction U is my mentorship for those who are deconstructing their faith, for those who have left their church behind, but not their faith and spirituality. Did I say faith and spirituality, or faith and spirituality? So if you have questions like, is God who I was taught he is, and can I see God differently? Or does the Bible really say everything I was taught? Or am I going to go to hell for deconstructing my faith and leaving my church behind? And you want some really biblical and common sense foundation for walking through your deconstruction, then come join me for Deconstruction U. And you can go to my website, pastor-paul.com, and check it out. So Deconstruction U for those who've left their faith, left behind their church, but not their faith. Come join me for that mentorship. All right, Jill, let me pull up our last video that I want to show you. And this one is my gift to you.
Say, okay, well, your debt is completely forgiven. Obviously, they have an agenda for that. They need votes in November. So the timing is a pure coincidence there as well. But it's completely unfair. And taxpayers all over the country, taxpayers that never took out a student loan, taxpayers that pay their bills and maybe even never went to college, or just hardworking people, they shouldn't have to pay off the great big student loan debt for some college student that piled up massive debt going to some Ivy League school. That's not fair.
And like Biden said,
massive debt going to Yale, and they're getting $10,000 of debt forgiveness from the government. Now,
Tell me you don't know how college works without telling me you don't know how college works.
And we keep hearing jackoffs like Ted Cruz say it's for the rich, not understanding that there are a lot of poor and middle-class people that send their kids to college. But when you live in a rich ivory tower, you probably don't know that stuff. You heard what MTG had to say. That's not fair that good working people are paying for those debt reductions of those college students. Well, this is what President Joe Biden had to say about that.
Republicans, officials who had hundreds of thousands of dollars of debts, even millions of dollars in pandemic relief loans forgiven, who now are attacking me for helping working class and middle class Americans. My team at the White House posted a video of this, folks, online. You should check it out. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she and her husband got $180,000 in business loans forgiven from the PPP program.
10,000 for a college student. Marjorie Taylor Greene loses her shit, but $180,000 of debt forgiveness for herself.
She said it's completely unfair for us to forgive student loans for working and middle-class Americans. Representative Vern Buchanan of Florida said our plan was reckless. Guess how much he got in that program forgiven? $2,300,000. This is not a joke.
And yet, none of that will make a right-winger change their mind about supporting right-wing candidates.
It's because they support, and that's the thing that I think, people say all the time, oh, the people are just stupid and that they believe them. And no, they don't. They don't believe them. And they don't care about the debt. They look for all of those things to be just excuses for why they support them, when the real reasons that they support them are the unspoken things, or actually now the things that they just freely say out loud, like, oh, what's wrong with Christian nationalism? Like she said on that one. Right. There's nothing wrong with that. What people support is the racism, the classism, the sexism. That's what they support. But they like that they give them all these really cool little things. It's kind of like there's I would most reasonable people who have been educated in Christianity and understand the Bible know that there's very little chance that Noah built a giant boat and went around the world and got all the animals and put them on the boat. Most people know that that's not logical. But
or that the wood floated to put it together.
Yeah. But they want so badly to believe all of the other stuff that goes along with it that they'll accept that, that Noah floated the timbers with his, magical frequency, and I think that's a lot of the thing that I have, a lot of the problems that I have between my family and I is because, like, I know why they support the things that they support, I know I've been privy to all those conversations the whole time growing up. I know what they want. I know that they, my brother was on unemployment through the entire pandemic, but posting things on Facebook about how these lazy people on unemployment, he freely said, oh, I could get a job right now, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to take that job when my unemployment benefits run out.
Right.
And I'm like,
well, it's like Joe Manchin talking about his worry on debt and people on the government dime when West Virginia, his state, receives, I think, has a higher percentage of people on government subsidies than maybe any state in the nation, or is one of the top in the nation. Mm-hmm. And by the way, just since many of you right-wingers don't know, by far the most money of government welfare programs to help the poor goes to white people. By the huge portion of it all goes to white people. Just so you know that. But the sad thing is, here's Marjorie Taylor Greene going on Fox News saying it's terrible, they're stealing money from the poor to pay for college debt reduction, not writing off a Yale college education again, mind you, which is tens of thousands of dollars a year, giving them a $10,000 debt reduction. And she took $180,000 in PPP loans, and this other Republican took $2.3 million and had it all forgiven. Who's paying for that? The same fucking people. But our right-wing media intakers will never have any idea, because even if they heard it, even as if they're hearing us talk about it now, they'll be like, well, yeah, but the Democrats, they kill children and are satanic worshipers. I mean, it's just stunning, the blindness and the hypocrisy and how closed-minded and close-eared and close-eyed our right-wing friends have become.
And really what it comes down to is they will support anything that they say because they know that at the end of the day, what they support more than anything is just, white European patriarch values. That's it.
Yeah.
And so they don't care what they do. They don't care if they steal from the government as long as what they're, speaking up for in their, opinions are for, the white people to get all the welfare. That's what they want.
Yeah. And I mean, my wife was a Republican elected official. We know how often behind closed doors Republicans are like, we'll just scream abortion.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what are people going to say about this? We'll just say abortion, and they'll vote for us.
Mm-hmm.
All we have to do is say abortion out loud and then give a few racist tropes and we'll be good.
Mm-hmm. The dog whistles. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to educate my kids on how to spot the dog whistles. But
there's a great book called It Was All a Lie, written by Stuart. I can't remember what Stuart's last name is. But anyway, look up It Was All a Lie by Stuart. And he talks about how in the 70s, there was a big move and thought in the Republican Party of like, how do we draw minority voters? How do we get people of color to vote for us? And in the late 70s, they decided we're never going to get Black people to vote for us. So what we have to do is go after the racist South. They made a decision during the Carter administration. We'll go after the racist South, and that's when you started to see Ronald Reagan talking about welfare moms and of course abortion, and overnight becomes a Christian extremist anti-abortionist. And then George Bush ran for office with the Willie Horton ads, where over and over we're seeing a picture of a scary Black man who raped a white woman, and they play it over and over. And then as G.W. Bush is running for office, they float a rumor about John McCain that he has a Black love child in South Carolina, when in fact it was an adopted child. And just so racism became a chosen underlying supporting factor of Republican politics. And it wasn't like, oh, this is happening and maybe we should do something, but no, it's kind of helping us. No, it was a conscious decision. We have to win the white people of the South because we're never going to get people of color to vote for us. And they chose to be the party of racism and cover it with abortion and uber godliness as a thing. So just know, if you are a supporter of the Republican Party, that is who you support. And, I know what all the right wingers are saying. Nobody is sitting here saying Democrats are perfect and great. I would not say that at all. Joe Biden would not be my choice for president if I could wave a magic wand. But they're not sitting there saying we're God's party and you're going to hell if you don't vote for us.
I mean, all you got to do is Google the Southern strategy. It's not a secret. Nobody made a secret of it.
Yep. All right, Jill. Well, that's kind of fun doing live blind reacts to right-wing Republicans. So we'll have to do that again sometime soon.
We will.
All right, Jill. I'm going to let you go. Our friend Brian, I'm sorry, Brian, I didn't get to pop you on, but I'm going to jump into do a little Q&A with the folks here, and we'll see you guys next time on Live Reacts.
All righty. Bye.
All right, see you, Jill. Go see her at Westwood South. Yeah.
I haven't posted in a while.
You got good stuff. Like, I love your school board stuff, so that's really good.
All right.
All right, Jill, we'll see you next time. Very cool. All right. Let me remind you again of a couple of things before I start doing Q&A with, I see we have a few trolls going on, so we'll deal with that. But one more reminder of Deconstruction U, which is our mentorship for those deconstructing the faith. You can find out more information about that at pastor-paul.com. And if you're deconstructing your faith and sometimes you're like, gosh, I need some answers to some of these things, I would love to walk that journey with you. So let me know and we'll join together for Deconstruction U. And also this Wednesday, I took some time off from doing my mindfulness moment for a while, but I've started it up again. And if you're looking for just a time of refreshment during the week, every Wednesday morning at 6:30 a.m. Pacific is mindfulness moment every Wednesday morning at 6:30 a.m. We just do a time of refreshing and corporate hanging on and hanging out together, and would love to have you come. So waiting upon heaven is not a passive process, but it does require one to be quiet. We do this every Wednesday morning, and then it is preserved on YouTube, and you can see us there anytime that you want to have a moment of quietness and quiet hearing from heaven. All right, I've got about 15 more minutes. If somebody wants to make a comment, ask a question, go ahead and give it to me. Love to chat with you all. Doug says, did you see the Lawrence County, Alabama GOP blatant reference to the Klan? I did not, Doug. What did they say? Trey on TikTok says, as Christians, we're commended to love regardless of someone's political affiliation. Lyndon on Facebook says, surely Trumpers who go to church do not, I repeat, do not have the mind of Christ. What an insult that would be to my Lord. So Guy says they support the orange calf on right-wingers. Douglas says Republican elephant with the space between the legs were Klansmen. Oh, I don't know what that means. Ad hoc says it's not about political affiliation. It's about ideology. Yeah, Jesus was not hesitant in his complete voicing of his distaste for religious people who tried to impose their religious bondage onto others. He was not kind. He called them very bad names, whitewashed tombs, and many other things. So to say love means you say it's okay for you to claim an elected official who dabbles deeply into racism is okay for me to vote for, and you can't say anything about it because you have to love me. That's a ludicrous statement. Jesus was not kind to people religious people who said they were religious and good, but then didn't care for the poor, the marginalized, the outcast, the foreigner, and the economically disadvantaged. So to say like, oh, I get to have the support for these racist people and act like abortion is all that God really cares about in the world, and you can't say anything about it because then it's division and not love. That's ridiculous. You clearly don't know Jesus from the Bible. What about people who replace religion with social theory and doctrine? Is that still looked down on? I guess you would have to say what is social theory and doctrine. If social theory is like trying to get rid of systemic racism, absolutely, that's part of the gospel. It's part of the never-ending command of the Bible. The Bible never once commands the banning of abortion, never even hints that abortion is a sin, is considered murder. And that has become the number one issue of right-wing Christians. But hundreds and hundreds of times, the Bible says, take care of the poor, the foreigner, the marginalized, and the economically disadvantaged. And if you call that some sort of social construct in the church, then you honestly don't know who Jesus was. Are you an authoritarian? I have no idea why you would even ask that. So you would have to be, if you're a Trump follower, you're an authoritarian. So you are a Molech worshiper. That is a complete misunderstanding of the Bible. The Molech worship that was spoken against in the Bible was throwing live babies into a fire as an act of sacrifice. It had nothing to do with ending a pregnancy. It was throwing live babies into a fire. You cannot possibly equate the two as being the same. But hey, it's a good try, though. It's a good try to make the Bible say what you want it to say when in fact it doesn't say, because Christians don't understand that, first off, abortion is a political issue that is being used to manipulate them for political power. But secondly, Jewish sacred text that Christians have absconded to call the Old Testament are being appropriated to make the abortion ban argument. You're taking Jewish text and making them say something totally different than what Jewish law and Jewish tradition are for your purposes. It is an anti-Semitic use of Jewish text to say God's number one goal is for abortion to be banned. The country will be blessed if abortion is banned. It will not if it's not. Jesus taught us to love all and not to judge. That's not exactly what Jesus said. Jesus said, you will know them by their fruit. That is, by rote. Seriously, Trump supporters are authoritarians. Trump supporters are people who want to have a strong man. And by man, I mean male figure. They would never want a female to be leading them. Trump supporters are people who generally want to have a strong man in charge of the country and in charge of them. Yes, who will take it to the libs, who will take it against those common sense, and he'll partner with the military and get rid of all the devil worshipers. Yes, that is exactly who Trump supporters are. Love one another. That is correct. And Jesus, in loving religious people, said, your father is Satan. So was Jesus not a lover of people? Yes, you're bad people for wanting to give a man the presidency when he did not win the presidency. That is people rooting for an authoritarian. So you like dictatorships. Right now, China has given unending power to Xi. And that's what you want to do with Donald Trump. And then maybe like Junior take over after that, or Ivanka, or God forbid, Tiffany. There is nothing wise, nothing good about it. There is a difference between a strong leader and an authoritarian leader. We had that strong man as president, and he thought that meant that law didn't apply to him. And that is dangerous to us all. Doug says, what's your view on baptism and children? Should that be an adult decision? I think it's up to everybody. That people can choose baptism as a symbol of their faith however they want. And so child baptism can be a wonderful, sacred, like dedication of a child to the goodness of heaven, to God, how we do that. So I really don't, I'm not going to squabble a lot over how people decide to be baptized. Holly says, agreed, followers of MAGA tend to be authoritarian. Read Hitler in Los Angeles. Yeah. There's a podcast out now. Oh gosh, I don't know the name of it. That's about the attempted takeover of people right before Pearl Harbor, who were very pro-Hitler in the United States. It's a pretty scary podcast to listen to. Megan says in all caps, what the fuck? But Biden trying to mandate vaccines isn't dictatorship. No, mandating vaccines is not dictatorship. We've done that many times in the history of our country. We do many mandates in the interest of public health and public safety. That would be akin to saying stoplights are dictatorship. No, vaccines and public health concerns are a combined public health need and something we do together. It's nothing close to authoritarianism. It is silly to say that's authoritarianism. Having a president that says, I will not accept the outcome of an election, that is authoritarianism. And him knowing, we know now beyond the shadow of a doubt, Donald Trump knew he lost the election, and he knew it clearly and without question. Every major advisor around him was saying, you lost the election, it's over. And yet he still tried to overturn the election. That is an authoritarian. That is somebody, and if you're following that guy, that is somebody who believes in authoritarian. An authoritarian is somebody that says, I am the only one that can save you, and I'm the only one that's telling you the truth. And anybody who disagrees with me is a liar, is fake news. That is an authoritarian. And that's what we're facing in the country right now, is one of our two, we only have two major parties, which is really sad. And one of them has given itself over to authoritarianism and misinformation. And we need to make sure that minority party is not able to take power, of which it will never release that power ever again without something really ugly having to take place. Ulta is right, Holly. That's the name of the podcast, Ultra. And it's super good. Peter says, you don't believe that the Bible is the word. What do you mean by word? Colossians 3:8, don't cuss, Pastor. That's not what Colossians 3:8 says. And good try, though. And it doesn't say anything about cussing. There's nothing in the Bible that says shit is a bad word. The commandment in the 10 commandments to don't take the name of the Lord your God in vain is don't. The reason we don't say God damn it is you're not supposed to damn somebody in the name of God. You don't have authority to do that. And it says unwholesome talk, and the unwholesome talk it's talking about in Colossians, if you read the whole passage, is insults against one another. I can say shit without having a heart that wants to say something bad about somebody else. You need to understand when in Matthew 5, when Jesus is saying, you've heard it say, don't murder. You've heard it said, don't murder. But I say, if you insult your brother or say raka, you're the one worthy of hellfire. Words themselves, a word, shit, fuck, any of those words do not have inherent goodness or badness in them. It's what comes out of the heart. I wish Christians would understand that sin is what comes out of your heart in relationship to one another. So I can say, God bless you, and that be the most vile thing I could possibly say when it's coming from a dark, evil heart. And I can say shit and we laugh together and it means nothing. There are no inherently bad words. You need to learn the Bible and what the Bible is actually saying. You don't believe that the Bible is God's word. So I believe the Bible is inspired, mystically preserved. I don't think we know exactly when the canon was formed by human beings, if we have all the right writings in there, and that we don't. We're pretty sure now that the Apostle Paul did not write the pastoral epistles. So I think we can say this is writings that I believe were inspired by God. But if believing that the Bible is the word means that God wrote every word down, then I have to believe that God makes mistakes, because God disagrees with himself in different parts of the book, and certainly disagrees with himself in the hundreds of English translations we have. So I think the Bible is beautiful and can be used for wisdom and for correction of one another and all those things. But to say it's inerrant and floated down in this leather binding from heaven as is just to disregard history and facts about what we're reading. And when we are honest to what we're reading, that we are in fact reading a collection of 66 different books from a bunch of different writers that was collected by a group of men who may have gotten the collection right or who may not have gotten the collection right, then we can really honestly look at it together. Trey says, sir. It always starts, sir, because they're authoritarians. Sir, I pray that you find truth. Oh, brother. First off, I know you're not going to pray for me because that's just a Christian platitude and you guys don't do it. If you do, though, just know that your Bible prohibits witchcraft, which is trying to grab something supernatural to manipulate the natural. And so you would be sinning by doing that prayer. I'm not saying you're sinning. Your religion says that you're sinning. Somebody's asked, what meat can we eat a bunch of times? I eat what meat you want. I would, eat what meat you want. It is obscene talk. It is not morally appropriate to say that in a workplace. Oh, I've been in workplaces where people have dropped F-bombs beyond what you can believe. It's become culturally acceptable to use that language. So therefore, is it okay with God? No, the point is, again, the Bible does not say, here's a list of words that are inherently evil. Obscene talk or unholy talk is what comes out of your heart, not what word is used. God remains the same, man changes. Well, God allowed Abraham to rape his slave girl to have an offspring. Would God allow that today? God allowed David to force a virgin to sleep in his deathbed with him. Would God allow that today, or did God change? Do you think God's good with Job having sex with his daughters? Or did he change? God's law is unchangeable. So again, you say selling your molested daughter to her molester is still intact and still for us today because God's law is unchangeable, or do you just not think about what you're saying? Holly says you do call people out. I like your approach. Peter says, I think you have the real Holy Spirit and truly know Jesus, but I would love to chat with you about your doctrine. Okay, let's chat. If you can explain to me how God got the Bible wrong that Jesus had, because Jesus had a Bible called the Septuagint, and it included two of the 4 books of Maccabees. And so the question is, did God get the Bible wrong that Jesus had, and we're told that Jesus had available to him? Or did God get it wrong now? Or did God get it wrong with our Catholic friends? Or did God get it wrong with our Eastern Orthodox friends? Did God get it wrong putting Jude in when Jude quotes an apocryphal book that Protestants say is not inspired? I haven't heard people that bring the inerrancy argument ever address those questions. And if God wrote the whole of the Bible, then why do details of the Gospels not line up? Why do they have things in different orders and happening in different places? So why don't we have any new directives from God that apply to the current world climate? I believe that Jesus said, man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. And if you look at how it's broken down, how that passage is put together, it says every word that is proceeding from the mouth of God. That's why I think there is more revelation. Isaiah says, forget the former things. Don't you see the new thing I am doing? Jesus said, don't put new wine into old wineskins. I think the canon of the Protestant Bible is an old wineskin. We have to say, what is God doing today? Romans 12:2 says, don't be conformed to the age that you're in, but be transformed by the never-ending renewing of your mind so you can know what is good and right and the will of God in a season. Our Jewish friends would tell me, they say, we treasure our Bible more than you Christians do. We treasure the Torah much above how you treasure the Bible. But we also believe the Torah travels with the community, not the community is stuck to what the Torah was thousands of years ago. And we have to be honest to what the Bible is so that we can treat it and work with it honestly. I believe various authors have been inspired, but nothing is canonized. Why is that? I'm not sure we should have canonized the Bible in the first place. I think once you build this formality around things, as you see, people really start doing crazy things with it. I don't think you can definitively say the men who canonized the Bible did a good thing that served us all well. So those are things to think about. All right, guys, I'm going to have to let you go. Once again, just a quick reminder, Deconstruction U, if you want to walk through your deconstruction with me, mentoring you through it, go to my website, pastor-paul.com. Love you all. Look forward to hanging out with all of you soon. Again, Deconstruction U at pastor-paul.com. All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you for joining me on TikTok. We'll see you. And thank you for joining me on YouTube and Facebook. Love you guys.